This is Honey and her week 1 recap. Get your toy. Get your toy. So starting training this week, we are going to start hopefully with some toy play. She's very excited to see me right now. She knows that I am the treat lady, so she's not really interested in her toy just yet, but I'm going to keep trying. Good girl. So we like to do toy play in the beginning just to kind of get them active and interacting with us. Get your toy. No. What about one of your other toys? Want the penguin? Do you want the penguin? Yeah. Oh, the good girl. Good girl. Get it. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Get it. Good job, baby. Okay, so the first thing that I want to do with her this week is introduce what's going to be called our reward marker. Now, the reward marker is what I'm going to use to capture the moment that Honey offers the behavior that we ask for. I like to use sit as an example for this one. So the picture of a sit is that the butt is on the ground, the front 2 paws are on the ground. So that is the picture that I want to capture. So that is what I'm going to click, and then she'll get a piece of food for that. My click is a promise, so I'm promising you that you are going to get some food. So even in the beginning, if it's an accidental click, make sure you're feeding her for that. I need to teach her what this means though. So we're going to do what's called charging our clicker. For that, I'm simply clicking and then handing her a piece of food. With this, I'm not expecting any specific behavior. I'm not asking her that she get in a sit. I'm just gonna click and give her food. I of course don't wanna accidentally capture any negative behaviors. So she's kind of been jumping up a little bit. I just don't wanna click when that happens. Good girl. I also wanna practice rewarding her from both my hand and placing the food on the ground. Because in the future, that might be how the food is delivered. So I want her used to getting it both ways. After I've done a few reps of charging my clicker, I'm gonna now charge what's gonna be called our release word. Now the release word is what you're gonna use to release your puppy from the position that we've gotten them in. So throughout the next few weeks, we're gonna work a lot on duration. So a sit with duration, a down with duration. We're gonna need to teach her when she's done. So this word is gonna be okay. I'm using the word, it's a very loud truck. I'm using the word okay to let her know that she's all done. So to teach her that, I'm gonna show her that I have some food. Okay. And then just toss that food off to the side. If we don't do this, you might use your word okay, and the dog is like, okay, what does that mean? So I'm teaching her that when I say it, you go and you get out of position. Okay. And try to toss that cookie in different directions. So don't always toss it to the right, sometimes toss it to the left. You could toss it behind you, because I do want her to come back from different points of the room. You missed the cookie, it's right behind you. The other thing that we're going to do is teach her how to follow a food lure. So the way that I'm going to do that is I want to have the food in my hand. So in the palm of my hand, and then my thumb is going to cover that food. This way I can really move my hand without worry of dropping it. I'm going to show her that I have that food and then take a few steps. Good. So this is really building the attachment. You're still chewing, I'm sorry. So keeping her attached to us as we're in motion. This will be very helpful for you guys when we get into like walking on a leash. Good. So teaching this at the beginning stages is so important. Honey. I also want to do the food lure paired with her name. This is just a fun name exercise to get her used to coming when her name is called. Honey. realize I did all of that in my right hand, but I do want to make sure that she can follow a food lure from my left hand as well. Good girl. Right here. Honey. Nice. Okay. We're gonna try again for some toy play, see what happens. This girl loves her food so much. What do I got? What do I got? Get the toy. Get the toy. Whoa, look at his fun toy. I'm not fun, I'm just standing here. Oh, you found a stray crumb. So my goal with the toy play in between behaviors is just to make sure that we keep training fun. She is very much, I'm ready to go, I'm ready to train, because she does love the food so much. So that's great, but we do want to keep in mind training is fun. So right now we're kind of busting through a bunch of behaviors within 20 minutes. But when you guys have her home and you're practicing, maybe work on 1 or 2 behaviors in 10 minutes. And then be done. Play with her a little and do another training session later on in the day. Okay, so the next thing we're gonna work on is gonna be her sit. So this week for the sit, we're really just building the basic of the behavior. So teaching her how to get into position. Where are you? Sit. Good. So food is starting at nose level, and I'm coming up and back to get her to kind of push back onto her butt. This is also where following that food lure comes in hand, because she's very connected to the food and she follows this hand moving. Sit. Good. The other thing I'm kind of waiting out in this picture, I don't want to capture that negative behavior of her paws being up. So I'm trying really hard to click when I see that her paws are on the ground. Now, you might accidentally click as she's pawing. It's okay. Just don't feed her as her paws are in the air. I wouldn't click again. I would just wait for her to get back those paws on the ground. You're already like in a sit. Come here. Sit. Nice. Just wait that paw out. Good girl. And then I'll give her that food. Good job, baby. Do you want to do that one more time? Where'd you go? She's so silly. Sit. Good, nice. Okay, very good. Throughout the next few weeks, like I said, we're going to build that duration. So her being able to stay in that sit without immediately leaving the position. We'll focus on that more next week. And we'll do the same thing with her downs, so building the duration of her staying in that position. Next thing I want to work on is going to be what's called our hand target, or touch. So I really like the hand target as a little bit of an informal recall. Touch. Good girl. So if my dog is across the way, not really paying attention, doesn't know a formal recall word like come yet, I will ask for a hand target to get my dog to come into me. That way, if they blow off the hand target, it's not as big of a deal if they blow off that formal recall. Touch. Good. I also really like it as like an engagement exercise. So if I'm going somewhere with my dog, we get out of the car, I ask for a few hand targets, my dog is now very focused on me. Then we'll get into position and move on to whatever we're gonna work on. But it is a really nice one. And if you're on a walk, the puppy or dog is really distracted by something across the way, I might ask for a few hand targets to get their focus back on me, and then walk opposite of that distraction. The way I get this behavior, I'm gonna hold that food the same way I did for my food lure. I want her nice and attached first. Then I'm gonna pull my hand away. Touch. Good. And as soon as I feel that nose re-engage with my hand, that is what I'm clicking and feeding. Touch. Good. And make sure that you practice that with both of your hands. So make sure that you practice with both so that eventually she doesn't blow off one hand or the other if we've only been practicing with like our right hand. Good girl, baby.
What do you say? What do you say? Oh my gosh. No. No. Yeah, good girl. In between little play sessions, you can also just give some love. So make sure paws stay on the ground. Oh, you piddled a little. I made you excited. I'm sorry. Let's clean that up first.
Just to, again, keep it fun.
Let's get this out of the way. There you go.
Okay, what do we want to work on next? The next thing we worked on this week is going to be our mat, so building on our stationary behavior. The mat is really nice. I like to use it a lot in my kitchen. If I'm cooking or doing dishes, I might have my dogs stationed on the mat. That way they're not really up in my space as I'm doing things. I also really like this one for when company's coming over. You can ask your dog to station on the mat. Company comes in, gets settled, and then you could release your dog to go say hi. That one takes a lot of practice. So I wouldn't expect her to be able to master this by the time she goes home. Dogs love people, so that's a challenge that we really have to work up to of someone entering and her staying on that mat. But it's a good one to practice. Are you ready? So step one of the mat, I'm really gonna just build her desire and drive to come to this mat. So as soon as she is 4 paws on, that is what I'm gonna click and feed. And then I wanna come in with what's called follow-up cookies. So the follow-up cookies are what's gonna kind of keep her on this mat. Okay. And for her, she's very, again, food driven. So when she goes down to snuffle on that mat to find more cookies, she's very wiggly right now. Our goal will be that we work through those wiggles and eventually this becomes where she just lays down on the mat. But this week she's just so excited that she's just kind of wiggling all over. Watch out. Good girl.
Very nice.
So you really only, yeah, you were gonna get into a sit. You really only have to click that initial cookie. Okay. Your follow-up cookies, you do not have to click. That's a lot of clicking for one behavior. So click, put food on the mat for the first time she gets over to it, and then the follow-up cookies, we're just coming in to build that duration of staying on the mat, and then the final cookie, we're gonna utilize that release word to release her from the mat and let her know, you're done, you can get off the mat for now. Okay, let's do it one more time. Good girl. Right there. Good job. Okay. Nice. And then with your release cookies and the mat, I would try to practice releasing her in different directions. So primarily we did kind of away and off to the side. That's solely because of the smaller space and not wanting to like send her behind me into a gate. So be spatially aware as well when we're practicing our mat. Make sure you have nice room that you can toss those reset cookies in different directions and pick up and move your mat if needed. Good job, babe. All right. So one of the last things that we'll work on today is going to be our cooperative care body handling stuff. Super important for puppies and dogs of all ages to practice these skills as much as possible. So dogs are going to be going to the vet for the rest of their lives. This kind of dog will be going to a groomer as well for potentially the rest of her life. So it's super important to get her used to being handled and touched in certain ways so that when the time comes, she knows what to expect. So with all body handling, she's attached to food in one hand. Yes, and my other hand is gonna do the touching. Yes. First thing that I work on is a little baby restraint. So I'm just doing gentle pats along the back and then sliding under the tummy. As soon as I get into position, I'm marking that with a verbal reward marker instead of my clicker. So for that, I'm using the word yes. And then as soon as I say it, I'm giving her a piece of food. Okay. I like to use both when it comes to my body handling. If I'm doing something that allows me to use a clicker, I will do that. But if I need both of my hands, one to feed, one to touch, I might use that verbal marker instead. The next thing I want to handle is going to be her tail. Yes, that's going a mile a minute. But I want her to be used to having her tail lifted. Yes. Future potential, getting her temperature taken at the vet. Also future of going to the groomer and getting some cleanup back there. She needs to be comfortable with people handling and lifting her tail up. Moving up towards her head, I'm going to handle her ears. Yes. Good girl. So that was one ear. I'm going to pet on her head, on her neck, and then flip an ear back. Yes. Good girl. Good job. And then still up at the head, I'm gonna look into her mouth. So again, I'm not just going right in and looking. I'm gonna pet first and then kind of get to that lip. Yes, good girl. I'll do the same thing on the other side. Yes, good job. Okay. So this stage of looking in the ears, looking in the mouth, I'm not doing any duration with it. I'm simply flipping an ear, mark and feed, lifting a lip, mark and feed. As we continue to build on that, I will do more handling with the ears of like adding massage. How long am I looking at the ear for and holding it for? And then the lip, trying to get further back and potentially gliding my finger in for future like teeth brushing. You just love food so much. Now I'm going to work on handling her paws. Paw handling is so important. We keep it as positive, yes, as possible. She's going to need nail trims for the rest of her life. Yes, so many dogs hate having their nails touched. Yes, good girl. So it is very important, yes, to start practicing that early on, being consistent with it, and not forcing her into a nail trim right away just because she's little, she's easy to hold and just push through it. We definitely want to make sure that we take our time with it and do like one nail at a time. The next day, do another nail, like one nail per paw, and then just keep those sessions short and sweet. You don't have to take off a ton of nail at this point, just really getting those tips and getting her used to having the nail trimmers coming up to her toes and the sound of them. Final thing we'll do is get her in her harness. So for the harness, I'm gonna pick her up. We're gonna sneak our paws in because she's such a happy girl. And then as soon as she's clipped, good girl, we'll just practice doing some of those food lures again. Yeah, right. So getting her used to being in her gear, getting movement. Good. She doesn't care that she's wearing something. Nice, baby. A lot of the times puppies come home at this age and they absolutely hate having something on. They panic, they spin, they don't move, they freeze and flatten. Okay. Honey. Good. Well, that is one thing we didn't really practice is a name game called the Flying Cookie Game. So I'm gonna toss a cookie. Okay. Honey. Good. And as soon as she's done done eating, I wanna call her name. As soon as she turns towards me, that's what I'm gonna click and feed. Okay, honey. Good.
Nice.
Let's do that one more time and then we can take your harness off. Oh, free cookie, I dropped it. Ready? Okay. Honey. Good. And then to get her harness off, I'm gonna show her that I have some snacks, unclasp that harness, and just kind of let her walk out. Good girl. And that is it for Honey's week 1 recap.